Yeah, this is the modern incarnation of panpsychism. It's called integrated information theory. And who says that? The person who himself has formulated integration information theory. So basically, these are the approaches there. And out of these theories that we discussed, this is how the philosophy of religion, this is how we study religion in the frame of these philosophies. So you can see all of this are being studied under the guise of these philosophical ideas. And this is what they call. So religion is being studied under the philosophies that we have discussed. Not the other way around. Today. Not the other way around. It's not religion studying those philosophies. You see, do you understand? So somebody who.
So you mean that through that lens?
Through that lens, yes.
We study religion.
Correct. And that is what is the name is giving here. You are giving these names.
So through these lenses.
Through those lenses that the lens that we have discussed.
Okay.
The outcome of religion is this.
The integrated theory.
No, this one. Forget about integrated theory. So we'll start. Okay, let me tell you. Okay, let's do this. We studied realism. We studied idealism. We studied solipsism. We studied nominalism. What else? We studied dualism, panpsychism. All these philosophies combined in one way or the other by different thinkers, they come up with their own idea of religion here. And this is the name that they give. You get what I'm saying? Or should I rephrase this thing? Somebody help me?
Go ahead, rephrase it.
You're
Okay.
saying that the study of philosophy over the history by different people, they put a framework.
Yes.
And with that framework, we are looking religion through this prism.
Through that prism, and then they give different names.
Idea, okay. Oh, yeah.
So, for instance, if somebody is going to study, let's say, what? Pantheism. Let's take this one. Where's the laser? Pantheism. What is pantheism? It is the combination of pantheism.
Pandeism.
सर पेंडुइज्म भी हो सकता है
एडिट का काम बढ़ा देते हैं
So, pantheism is basically a mixture of pantheism, deism. So, now you will have to understand what is deism. But to understand deism, you have to understand what is idealism, realism, and all that to understand what is deism. So, you understand, this is what's happening. So, let me explain to you. The next slide will help you understand.
All right, but you,
Okay.
because go back to your slide.
Okay. This slide and this slide is the same.
No, it may make our life easier to correlate with what we are going through. You have one block on the second row.
Fundamentalism.
No, number 3. Feminist theology.
Feminist theology,
Okay,
yes.
now, because everybody talks.
Okay, yes, okay.
So you can we can relate
Yeah,
to this.
yeah, you can. This is a good example. Feminist theology. I don't know how many people you know. Asma Barlas, she's a Pakistani. She teaches at Utica College in New York. She has written a tafsir of the Quran, in which every he is translated into she. Okay, so she is this is a good example of a feminist theology, because they are going to interpret theology in feminist terms. I mean, read her book is very fascinating. Everywhere where God has been referred as he, she has changed it to a she.
And how about her? It should be his.
So anyway, this is a good example where all those theories about panpsychism and all these things, rationalism and empiricism, all these things come together, and you construct a religion, a theory of religion or theory of God. Actually, this is what it means. Theology means there's no, first and foremost, there's no equivalent of theology in Islam. You cannot translate theology into any word in a Muslim language.
Big names are they doing that.
There is no
names.
translation.
Islamic big
There's no
scholars.
translation. There's no way you can translate theology into a single word in a Muslim language. Forget about Islam. I'm talking about Muslim language. Be it Urdu, Farsi, Arabic, Indonesian.
Theos is God.
Theos is God, and logy is what? Study. Study of God. It makes no sense. In Islam, it makes no sense. How do you study God? You don't study God. The closest you can come to is usul fiqh, usul, you know, or aqidah,
Yeah.
or that is the closest you can come. You cannot. There's no.
Marifa. We call it marifa.
Or very close you want to bring it asma wa sifat, that's all that you can come close, but it is not theology. We do not study God.
So what do we study? We study about
His sifat
so
and
that
what
is
he
what
wants
we do,
us to do
right?
in the dunya.
We need to know him, right? Quran and Hadith tells us who is he, where is he, what are his sifat, how, what he likes, what
Very
he
good.
dislikes.
We are talking about his sifat. We are not talking about his
That is
essence.
about him, right? If you're talking,
No.
if you're studying somebody's sifat, you're studying
In
about him.
okay, that will go out of the this thing, but the thing is not easy. Is not just like religion cannot be translated into any language that I know of. The word religion cannot be translated. Okay. What do you call religion in Urdu? What does mazhab means? It's
So
derived from
school of thought.
madhab. Madhab from Arabic means a way, a school that of thought. Okay. In Hindi, anybody knows the translation of religion in Hindi? Dharam. Dharam means what in Sanskrit? Law, way. It is no way means religion. Tao or Dao, however you want to transliterate that thing. What does it mean in Chinese? A way.
Flow.
A way, a flow, somebody going in certain way, way of life. It is not religion.
So what does religion mean then?
Religion is a very peculiar European concept that has come up in the late 16th, 17th century, okay, to mean certain thing. And I always give this example. Selfie. 5 years ago, does anybody know what a selfie is? No. Were there selfies before these selfies? Yes or no? Let me ask the young people. Were there selfies before selfies? What were they called?
As it is?
Not
No, no,
selfies.
no, no,
सलफी
no,
की
no,
बात कर
What was they called?
सेल्फी
Where was selfie before selfie?
Portrait?
Self-portrait.
Self-portrait, yes.
Is it fair for me now to call all self-portrait selfies?
No.
Let's say I start doing that. Would it be accurate?
No.
It is the same thing that has happened to religion. The word religion came up in the 16th, 17th century. Yes? Huh?
Yeah.
And then you take that concept, and you throw it back, and you call everything religion now. Does it look right? Does it explain what I'm trying to say here about religion? If I call every self-portrait that has existed in history selfie, will I be wrong? Yes. Will I be right? Yes. If you take it in that fashion, right? But you know that that's not what self-portrait were. Yeah? We all agree?
Yes.
So,
So Adnan, just to take this particular slide, what we are saying here is that people are taking religion and looking into different lenses to come up with things that they think are more acceptable to people, or they are trying to prove the theories that they already built up are in line with the religion or not. One way of saying it?
one way of looking at it, yes. Basically, what is happening is when you study all these theories, you want to understand. Definitely, you want to understand what other people were thinking in the past. So you give it a name.
And that's where the research happens.
That's where the research happens.
And
Yes.
that's where the funding
Yeah.
happens, where to fund, which area to fund,
Yeah.
where not to fund.
See, let's look at this thing. Let's look at this slide here. It will explain to you something here. Many of the names here, you are familiar with, and some of the names you are not familiar with. Like atheism. You know what is atheism. You know what is pantheism, polytheism, theism. You know all these things. But what is this? Henotheism. What is monotheism? What is transtheism? What is panentheism? These are words. Let's look at this, just one of them here. I'll just look at three of them and then I will not look at the other ones. See, this henotheism is the worship of a single god while not denying the existence or possible existence of other deities.
So it influenced our minds too.
Correct? How did this idea came up about? When you do all this, you study all these philosophies, then you come up with these ideas. Look at panentheism. The belief of the divine pervades and interpenetrates every aspect of the universe and also extends beyond time and space. So what's the difference between panentheism and pantheism? Pantheism says all is God. Panentheism says everywhere is God. So confusing? Yeah? All is God. I am God, you are God, he is God, everyone is God. Okay? Panentheism is saying God is everywhere.
So everything is not God, but God is inside
Everywhere.
everything.
Exactly. Thank you.
Inside.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Inside, outside, everywhere. Transtheism is referring to a system of thought or religion philosophy which is neither theistic nor atheistic but is beyond them. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Confusion.
Exactly. So theism is in transit.
So,
Right.
so this basically out of this, I only picked up religion because that is where people get more this thing. This philosophies affects other aspects too. So, in summary, this is what we discussed. Realism and idealism are used in modern education curriculum and international politics, right? Some ways, this realist idea affected Pakistan the most in the last 30, 40 years. Wow. Does anybody remember Brzezinski, Operation Cyclone? No. But they will. Do you remember? You will remember the invasion of the Soviet Union in Afghanistan. You know how it came about? It came about as a result of the realist policies of the National Security Advisor of Carter, Brzezinski, baiting the Soviet Union to attack Afghanistan. I will share with you something later on. And as a result, he was more concerned about the defeat of Pakistan, defeat of the Soviet Union than people dying. The national security of capitalism of this United States was more important than few 100 million people dying.
That's called collateral damage.
Whatever name you want to call it, that is the realist viewpoint. So we don't relate this philosophy with the actions that happen there. Am I right or wrong? No, we don't see that connection. But it is a direct result of this form of thinking. Solipsism, we already saw, is used in psychology, psychiatry, and child development theories. Scientific realism, and scientific anti-realism used to justify scientific theories. Dialectism, we looked at how it is, all it affects, these are the names of it: para-consistent logic, fuzzy logic, multiculturalism, used in artificial intelligence. So basically, that's in a nutshell that we have discussed. These are the cornerstones. These are the cornerstones on which modern ideological thinkings are based. A person could be any one of these, or he's a multiple of these things. Remember that diagram I showed you. A position is not always the same thing.